Hello everyone. In this video, we are going to start with Unit 6, Plant Nutrition. In Unit 1 itself, we have studied about 7 characteristics of living organisms, and nutrition is also one of the very important characteristic of all living organisms which are present on Earth. Okay, all living organisms which are present on Earth, they consume food in order to sustain life on Earth. Okay, now as you have studied in the lower classes, there are actually two types of nutrition. First one is autotrophic and the second one is heterotrophic nutrition. Okay, so the meaning of word auto is self, on their own. So the organisms, they prepare their food, or you can say organisms, they make organic material by using inorganic raw materials. Okay, and the example of autotrophic nutrition is plants, algae, cyanobacteria, etc. So all these organisms, they perform a very important process called photosynthesis. Okay, and in the process of photosynthesis, they prepare their food, which is called glucose. Fine. The second type of nutrition is heterotrophic nutrition. Okay, so in case of heterotrophic nutrition, organisms, they are dependent on other living organisms in order to obtain their food. Okay, now the example of heterotrophic nutrition is animals. So what happens in case of animals is, animals, they cannot prepare their own glucose. Okay, animals, they don't have ability to prepare their own glucose. So how do they get glucose or other carbohydrates? They get glucose or other carbohydrates by consuming other living organisms. Okay, so animals, they consume other plants, other animals, etc., and hence they obtain their carbohydrates, or you can say they obtain their organic substances. Fine. Now, when we talk about autotrophic nutrition, especially in case of plants, photosynthesis process in case of plants takes place in leaf. Okay, so before we discuss in detail about photosynthesis, let's understand the structure of leaf. Now, leaf is actually known as the kitchen of plant. Okay, because the process of photosynthesis takes place inside leaf. Now, if you will look at a leaf, one single leaf, leaf is always having a thin stalk at the back, and this thin stalk at the back is known as petiole. Okay, it can also be called leaf stalk, or it can be called petiole. Okay, this petiole, after this petiole comes this flat green color structure. Okay, this flat green color body. Okay, and this entire flat green color body is known as lamina or leaf blade. So remember, it can be called lamina or it can be called leaf blade. Okay, now every leaf is always having a margin. Fine. Here you can see the leaf is actually having a zigzag margin. Okay, so this type of zigzag margin is known as jagged or serrated margin. So you should remember all these parts very well, and you should also remember these two terms, serrated or jagged, because sometimes in IGCSE paper, the question on margin of leaf is also asked. Okay, you have to actually write down that what type of margin the leaf is having, whether leaf is having smooth margin, plain margin, or it has serrated or jagged margin. Okay, so in this particular case, the leaf is having serrated margin. Some leaves have simple and very smooth margin like this. Okay, many plants have leaves with the simple margin. Okay, plain and smooth margin. Okay, but here the leaf is having serrated margin. Now, if you look at this leaf, there are many lines in the leaf. So this petiole actually runs inside the leaf as a thick line in the center. Okay, and this thick line in the center is known as midrib. Fine. And if you look carefully, the midrib also divides into many other lines on both the sides. Okay, so these lines are known as veins. Okay, and further these veins are also dividing into many thin lines. Okay, so these other thin lines are known as venules. What they are called? Venules. Okay, they are known as venules. Fine. So these are the basic parts of all the leaf. Okay, and the tip of leaf is always known as leaf tip or apex. Okay, fine. So this is serrated or jagged margin, petiole, leaf stalk, midrib, vein, lamina or blade, and leaf tip or apex. One last point which I want to tell you here is inside this petiole, midrib, veins, venues and all, why they're important is because inside these midrib veins or petiole runs the vascular bundles. Okay, you have studied in your lower classes about vascular tissues, that is xylem and phloem. So these xylem and phloem are actually present inside leaf in this midrib, vein or petiole. Fine. Now, if you will look at the leaf, for example, just look at my hands. Okay. For example, this is one leaf. Okay. So if you look at the leaf, the entire leaf is actually covered with a layer of cell. So here is upper layer of the cell, that is upper epidermis, and the lower layer of cells in the leaf is known as lower epidermis. Between this upper and lower epidermis, even though the leaf is very thin, okay, even though the leaf is very thin, between this upper and lower epidermis, there are group of cells or group of tissues present, okay. So if you will take the transverse section means between upper and lower epidermis. So if you'll cut the leaf like this, okay, it will take the transverse section of the leaf, you can make out those group of tissues or those group of cells present between upper and lower epidermis. So let's look at the transverse section of the leaf. What is the meaning of transverse section of leaf is this one. Okay, if you'll cut the leaf, this is upper epidermis, okay, and this one is lower epidermis. So if you'll cut the leaf between upper and lower epidermis here, okay, if you take the transverse section of the leaf, you can actually be able to see the group of cells present between upper and lower epidermis, okay. And these group of cells or these tissues actually perform very important function in the process of photosynthesis. So the next image here shows you the transverse section of leaf, okay. You can see here this entire, the upper layer is known as upper epidermis, okay. It's given here, this side, this is known as upper epidermis, the first layer, okay. The topmost layer of the leaf is known as upper epidermis, and the lowermost layer of leaf is known as lower epidermis here, okay. Now this upper epidermis is actually continuous. Continuous means there are no gap or there's no gap in the upper epidermis, okay. There's no distance or there's nothing present between the cells of upper epidermis. But when you will look at this lower epidermis, okay, the lower epidermis is not continuous. In between the cells of lower epidermis is present stomata. I'm very sure that you guys are aware what is stomata as you studied in the lower classes, but I'll tell you about stomata a little later, okay. So upper epidermis is continuous and lower epidermis is not continuous because they have stomata in between the lower epidermal cells, okay. And upper epidermis is actually covered with a thin waxy layer, okay. This waxy layer is known as cuticle, okay. So what this waxy layer is called? This thin waxy layer present on the top of upper epidermis is actually known as cuticle, okay. Then below this upper epidermis we have these long, you can see these elongated cells, okay. So we have these elongated cells, long or elongated cells. These cells are tightly packed and they are arranged end on, okay, end to end. They are arranged like, this is one cell and this is another cell. So they are arranged end to end, okay. And just below these tightly packed elongated cells, we have these small, almost oval shaped cells. These cells are loosely packed. So these cells are actually known as mesophyll cells, or you can say it is called mesophyll layer. It is called mesophyll. The meaning of word meso is present in between or present in the middle. Okay, this is the meaning of word meso. Meso means present in between or present in middle. Okay, so the meaning of word, the meaning of mesophyll cells is present in between upper epidermis and lower epidermis. Okay, so cells which are present in between upper epidermis and lower epidermis, they are known as mesophyll cells. So in case of leaf, there are two types of mesophyll tissues. The first one is palisade mesophyll tissue or palisade mesophyll cells, and the second one is spongy mesophyll tissues or spongy mesophyll cells. Fine. So these palisade mesophyll cells, they are long and elongated. They are tightly packed and arranged end to end. Okay. And these spongy mesophyll cells, they are oval shaped and they are loosely packed. Okay, there is actually air spaces, large air spaces present between the between these spongy mesophyll cells. Now here comes a very important part. This one, this particular part. Okay, this is actually a particular vein. Okay, because I've told you in previous slide, when you will take the cross section of the leaf, okay, if you take the transverse section of the leaf, you can make out this is midrib. Okay, so vein, if you take the transverse section of a leaf, you can make out veins will also get cut. Okay, in your section, you will also get the cross section of vein. So this part shows the cross section of vein. I've already told you that these veins, midrib, petiole, all these structures, they have vascular bundles inside them. Okay, and vascular bundle is actually comprises of vascular tissues, which are xylem and phloem. Okay, so we have two vascular tissues in plants, that is xylem and phloem. Okay, so these cells in the center, okay, these cells in the center which are thick walled. Okay, remember these cells are thick walled. They are known as xylem. Okay, and surrounding these thick walled xylem cells are phloem cells. Okay, more in detail about xylem and phloem you will learn in unit transport in plants. Okay, in further units, transport in plants. Okay, so these are the actually part of these are actually the parts of cross section of leaf, or you can say transverse section of leaf. Okay, now if you look at each cell of this transverse section of the leaf, so every cell is having all the parts, that is cell wall, cell membrane, okay, cytoplasm, vacuole, fine, nucleus. So all the cells of cell membrane, also all the cells of these transverse section of a leaf, all these cells, they share the common parts, that is cell wall, cell membrane, vacuole, okay, cytoplasm and nucleus, and all other cell organelles, okay, except one cell organelle, that is chloroplast. Okay, so chloroplast is actually absent in epidermal cells. Okay, upper epidermis is also not having chloroplast, and lower epidermal cells are also not having chloroplast. So these upper and lower epidermal cells, they are called transparent. They are called transparent because they are not green in color. The presence of chloroplast makes leaves green. Okay, actually inside chloroplast there is a pigment called chlorophyll. So presence of chlorophyll inside leaf makes it green. Okay, so epidermal cells, they are transparent because they are not green in color due to the absence of chlorophyll or chloroplast in them. There is another very important reason behind this absence of chloroplast in epidermal cells. Okay, for example, this is upper epidermis and sun is present here. Okay, so the rays of sun will fall on upper epidermis. Okay, but actually the process of photosynthesis takes place in palisade mesophyll cell, and somewhat it takes place in spongy mesophyll cells. Okay, so if upper epidermis is having chloroplast in it, what will happen? This entire sunlight which is falling on the leaf will be trapped by the epidermal cells itself. Okay, very less amount of light energy could only be able to pass to palisade mesophyll cells. Okay, so what will happen? The rate of photosynthesis will decrease. Hence, this is how the leaves are adapted. The epidermal cells, that is upper epidermis and lower epidermis, they both lack chloroplast in them. Fine. I hope till here the parts of transverse section of leaf is clear to you. The function of all the parts we will discuss further in this video. Okay. Now the next slide shows you the transverse section of leaf under light microscope. You should be able to understand this because sometimes the questions are sometimes this type of picture is given to you in the IGCSE paper. The picture given to you will be black and white, and you should be able to identify the cells of the transverse section of leaf under light microscope. Now, if you look here, this topmost layer is actually your upper epidermis. Okay, I'm just writing the short form, upper epidermis. This thin layer which is covering upper epidermis is cuticle. Cuticle is actually the waxy coating or waxy layer present on the top of upper epidermis. Below this upper epidermis, we have these long and elongated cells. Okay, so these long and elongated cells present below upper epidermis are known as palisade mesophyll cells. Okay, this is the second layer is also of palisade mesophyll cells. Below that we have here this one. Okay, these loosely packed oval cells, they are called spongy mesophyll cells. Okay, and below these spongy mesophyll cells, here we have lower epidermis. Okay, they are it's very easy to identify these parts, and you can make out here that between spongy mesophyll cells we have here air spaces. Okay, air spaces, and this one is actually the cross section of your vein. Okay, this is the cross section of your vein. Okay, so these are the parts of transosection of leaf under light microscope. Okay, this one very important part I forgot to tell you. This one is stomata. Fine. Stomatas are actually, the openings present on the lower surface of most of the plants. In some plants, stomatas are also present on upper surface, that is between the cells of upper epidermis. The function of stomata is to, help in exchange of gases. I'll tell you further. Okay. Now we'll discuss in detail about the features and adaptations of this leaf. Okay. Now the first very important feature of leaf is always supported by stem and petiole. So I've told you in the structure of leaf, in the external structure of leaf, that every leaf is having a petiole. Okay. Now what is the function of petiole? Petiole actually helps in holding the leaf straight like this. Okay. So petiole helps in holding the leaf flat or straight like this. The function of keeping or holding the leaf like this is it will help in order to expose leaf to the sunlight and air as much as possible, because leaf requires sunlight for the process of photosynthesis, and leaf also requires air because in air there is present carbon dioxide gas, and this carbon dioxide gas is important for the process of photosynthesis. Okay, so this leaf is held upright in the air so, with the help of petiole. Okay, so petiole helps in exposing leaf to the air and sunlight as much as possible. The second very important function of very important feature or adaptation of leaf is having a large surface area. So this large surface area of leaf, because I've told you that the leaf is very broad and flat. Leaves are very broad and flat. Why? Because if the surface area will be more, leaf will be able to absorb more light and carbon dioxide gas. Okay, so light is important for the process of photosynthesis, and carbon dioxide gas is also important for the process of photosynthesis, isn't it? Carbon dioxide gas is one of the very important raw material in order to make glucose. Okay, and sunlight provides energy for the process of photosynthesis. Okay, so large surface area of leaf is very important because it helps leaf to absorb light and carbon dioxide, to absorb as much light and carbon dioxide as possible. Fine. Then another very important feature of leaf is very thin. Okay. Now this leaf is actually very thin. I've told you previously itself. If you look at my hands, the uppermost layer of the cells is known as upper epidermis, and the lowermost layer of cells is known as lower epidermis. So between upper and lower epidermis, there are different types of tissues present, okay, which helps in the process of photosynthesis. Now, if you look at the leaves are very thin. Why? Because sunlight falls on the leaf from the top, on the upper epidermis, and carbon dioxide gas enters inside the leaf from the lower epidermis, okay, from the stomata present in the lower epidermis. And the process of photosynthesis takes place in palisade mesophyll cells, okay. Now what happens is, this leaf is thin because the thin nature of leaf allows sunlight to penetrate to all the cells, okay, all the palisade mesophyll cells as well as spongy mesophyll cells. And it also allows carbon dioxide to quickly diffuse inside, and the oxygen gas which is produced in the process of photosynthesis to quickly diffuse outside the leaf, okay. Now on the top of leaf we have a waxy cuticle. This waxy cuticle is actually important because it protects the upper epidermis. Okay, so presence of waxy cuticle on the top of leaf is actually a protective layer. Okay, because it is present as a protective layer on the top of leaf, and it helps in preventing water loss. Okay, so during when sunlight falls on the leaf, okay, so the temperature of the leaf gets high. Okay, so the leaves, so the water which is present in the epidermal cells and other cells in the leaf should not get evaporated from the top part of the leaf, because upper epidermis is a part which is receiving sunlight, okay, which is exposed to sunlight. Okay, so in order to prevent water loss, in order to prevent evaporation of water due to increase in the temperature, this waxy cuticle is present on the top of upper epidermis. Okay, now the next part is upper epidermis. This upper epidermis is thin and transparent. So it is transparent, I've already explained to you earlier, because chloroplast or chlorophyll is absent in upper epidermis. Okay, so due to the absence of chloroplast or chlorophyll, upper epidermis is transparent. There's no, it's not green in color. Okay, it is transparent. So it is transparent because due to this nature, the sunlight which falls on the upper epidermis is not absorbed by the cells of upper epidermis. Okay, sunlight directly penetrates or passes on to the palisade mesophyll cells and then to spongy mesophyll cells. Okay, so it allows light to enter or penetrate palisade and spongy mesophyll cells beneath upper epidermis. Okay, the cells which are present below upper epidermis, their process of photosynthesis takes place. So they should receive maximum amount of sunlight. Okay, hence upper epidermis and lower epidermis, they both are transparent. Transparent means chlorophyll and chloroplast are absent in them. Next very important feature is after upper epidermis comes the palisade mesophyll cells. Okay, palisade mesophyll cells. Now if you look at the figure here, you can make out that these palisade mesophyll cells, they're column shaped, or you can say elongated cells and tightly packed. Okay, and are arranged end on. Okay, so see, these cells are tightly packed, okay, and they are arranged end on. Now the meaning of end on is they are arranged they're tightly packed and arranged next to each other, okay, end to end. Now the benefit of arranging like this is when they're arranged end to end, end to each other, what happens is it actually keeps very few cell walls as possible between chloroplast and sunlight. Okay, so very less amount of cell wall is present between chloroplast and sunlight. So whenever, for example, sunlight is penetrating from here, okay, so sunlight falls on this cell, it is absorbed by chloroplast here. For example, sunlight is falling from here, sunlight falls on this cell and then it also passes to the next cell. So because of the tightly packed nature, what will happen, almost only one cell wall will be present between these two cells. Okay, so sunlight has to cross very few cell walls between these chloroplast and sunlight. Okay, now another very important adaptation of palisade mesophyll cell is they have large number of chloroplast. So because of the presence of very large number of chloroplast, what happens is the photosynthesis, the rate of photosynthesis in palisade mesophyll cells increases. Okay, so palisade mesophyll cells, it has large number of chloroplast, so it can perform photosynthesis at faster or at higher rate. Okay, and the reason for increase in the rate of photosynthesis is because presence of more chloroplast shows presence of more number of chlorophyll molecules and hence higher increase or higher absorption of the sunlight by chlorophyll molecules. Next feature adaptation is chloroplast in the palisade mesophyll cells, they are arranged. Now the arrangement of chloroplast in palisade mesophyll cell, it depends on the intensity of light. Now for example, during dim light, okay, when the intensity of light is low, so chloroplast on the chloroplast and palisade mesophyll cells during dim or low intensity of light, they are arranged broadside. Now if you look at this 3D diagram here, so the meaning of term broadside is this one on the top. Okay, the chloroplast molecules will be arranged here on the top, so that whenever the sunlight falls from upper epidermis, they can directly go and absorb. The sunlight can be directly absorbed by the chlorophyll molecules. So this happens during the low intensity of light to absorb maximum sunlight. Okay, so during low intensity of sunlight, chloroplasts are arranged broadside in order to absorb maximum sunlight. But during bright sunlight, when the intensity of light is very high, okay, at that particular time, what happens? These chloroplasts, they can easily move inside the in the cytoplasm. Okay, so during high intensity of light, what happens? These chloroplast molecules, they just go and arranged end on. End on means they arrange in this particular area. Okay, they move from the top part and just arrange themselves here in this particular area. Fine. Okay. Actually, they arrange themselves along the length of the palisade mesophyll cell. Okay. So during low intensity of light, they arrange themselves along the width of the palisade mesophyll cells, and during bright light, during high intensity of light, they arrange themselves along the length of the palisade mesophyll cells. So at that time, when any sunlight falls on the palisade mesophyll cells, very less amount of sunlight is actually absorbed by palisade mesophyll cells. Okay. Now, what is the importance of this this particular point? You will understand in further few videos when you will discuss about when you will learn about limiting factors in photosynthesis. Okay, so arrangement of chloroplast on broad side of palisade mesophyll cells during low intensity of light allows them to absorb maximum sunlight, and arrangement of chloroplast in palisade mesophyll cells on end on during bright light. Okay, that is high intensity of light, helps it to reduce the amount of sunlight absorbed. Next feature is about chlorophyll molecule. So this chlorophyll molecule in chloroplast are arranged on flat membranes. Okay. In unit cell, not in detail, but just you have got the overview of structure of chloroplast. Okay, so this is the structure of chloroplast. It is having two membranes, outer and this is outer and inner membrane. Then inside we have the liquid which is known as stroma, and then we have here, the membranes, the stack of these membranes. So the stack of these membranes is actually known as grana or granum. Okay, and just one membrane, one fold of membrane is known as thylakoid. Okay, this you have studied earlier. So one membrane is known as thylakoid, and the stack of this entire membrane is known as grana. Okay, G-R-A-N-A. Okay, so grana is plural and granum is singular. Okay, so chlorophyll is actually present inside chloroplast on these flat membranes. Okay, it is present on the walls of these flat membrane. Okay, because when sunlight falls on chloroplast, so the chlorophyll which is present on these flat membranes, they are able to absorb sunlight. Okay, understood? So presence of chlorophyll in chloroplast on these flat membranes helps in absorbing maximum amount of sunlight. Next adaptation is spongy mesophyll cells. So I've already told you that spongy mesophyll cells, they're loosely packed, they're oval-shaped cells and loosely packed. Okay. Now these oval-shaped cells which are loosely packed also contain some chloroplast, because some part of photosynthesis also takes place in spongy mesophyll cells. But the very important adaptation of spongy mesophyll cells is they are loosely packed, and hence they have internal air spaces. Okay, what they have? Internal air spaces. Okay. Now the function of the presence of this internal air spaces is it allows easy and faster diffusion of carbon dioxide and oxygen. Okay. So for example, if photosynthesis is taking place either in palisade mesophyll cell or spongy mesophyll cell. Okay. So in the process of photosynthesis, carbon dioxide gas is required. Okay. I'll just go back to the previous slides. In the process of photosynthesis, carbon dioxide gas is required. Okay. Okay. Now what will happen? Carbon dioxide gas will enter from here. Okay. From stomata, and it will go in this air spaces. Okay, so carbon dioxide gas, because of the presence of these air spaces, will be able to move to the palisade mesophyll cell, or will be able to move to the spongy mesophyll cells immediately, okay, very quickly, because of the presence of these air spaces. Similarly, in the process of photosynthesis, oxygen gas is produced. So this oxygen gas will be able to move out of the leaf in air with the help of presence of these internal spaces. Okay, with the help of these internal air spaces, oxygen gas can quickly diffuse outside the leaf, and carbon dioxide gas can quickly diffuse inside the leaf. Fine. So this is what is the importance of presence of internal air spaces. Okay, it allows easy and faster diffusion of carbon dioxide inside the leaf and oxygen outside the leaf. Now lower epidermis contains guard cells and stomata. Okay, so this picture actually shows the microscopic picture of lower epidermis of a leaf. Okay, these are long rectangular cells. Okay, these are the rectangular cells of lower epidermis, and you can make out this structure. This is actually a stomata. Okay, so the opening which is present in the center of stomata is actually known as stoma. Stoma means opening, or it can also be called stomata. Okay, and surrounding these stomata, surrounding this opening, we have here two cells which are known as guard cells. Okay, so surrounding this stomata, we have here two cells which are called guard cells. Okay, now these guard cells, the function is they absorb and loses water to open and close stomata. So for example, whenever leaf wants to open stomata, what will happen? These guard cells will absorb water. Okay, and if the leaf wants to close stomata, so guard cells will actually, when leaf wants to open stomata, the guard cells will lose water, and when leaf wants to close stomata, the guard cells will lose water. Okay, now in detail about this opening and closing of guard cells and stomata, you will learn in unit coordination and responses. Fine. The next feature is very important feature. The last one is vascular bundles. Okay, so presence of vascular bundles. Vascular bundles are actually present in the petiole, in the stem, in root or stem. Actually, it starts on root hair, root, stem. Okay, then branches, then it goes to petiole, midrib, veins, venules, etc. Okay, so these vascular bundles, inside them, it contains vascular tissues, that is xylem and phloem. Okay, so very important function of these vascular bundles is, the first and foremost very important function is they support stem and leaf. Okay, so this this long and tall plants, they're able to stand upright like this, okay, without falling, because of the presence of xylem and phloem in it. Okay, so these vascular bundles, they support stem and leaf. Okay, and the second very important function is this xylem tissue which is present in the vascular bundle. Okay, xylem tissue, it is a thick walled tissue, and it helps in conduction of water and minerals in the plants. Okay, so once plants absorbs water and minerals from the soil, the water and minerals passes through xylem, and this water and mineral is shared to all the parts of the plant from the xylem. Okay, and a second tissue is phloem. So this phloem is actually a tissue in plants which helps in the process of translocation. Okay, so what is this translocation? You will learn further videos. Okay, you learn in further units actually. So this it helps in translocation. Okay, so the phloem tissue actually helps in transport of food across the plant. Okay, and the type of food which gets transported in plant is sucrose and amino acids. Okay, so xylem tissue, it helps in conduction of water and minerals throughout the plant, and phloem tissue helps in conduction of or translocation of sucrose and amino acids throughout the plant. Okay, so we are done with the structure of leaf and how the leaves or different parts of leaves are actually adapted to the process of photosynthesis. In next video, we will start with the process of photosynthesis. Okay, we'll learn in detail how plants perform photosynthesis. Take care till then. Bye-bye.